Welcome to another video from Creative Learning Resources on how to get a 7 in IB Biology. This video is on topic 6 Human Physiology, subtopic 6.4 Gas Exchange. So let's get started. The topic 6.4 is about gas exchange, where the ventilation plays a very important role by maintaining the concentration gradient of oxygen and carbon dioxide between air in the alveoli and blood flowing in the adjacent capillaries. In order to understand the rest of the parts of the gas exchange system, we are going to draw a diagram. This diagram is showing different parts of the gas exchange system. This is the topmost part, which is indicating larynx, which is the beginning of the trachea. Trachea is a tube through which the air enters into two of its branches, which are called as bronchi. Singular is bronchus. Trachea contains C-shaped cartilaginous rings which prevent the trachea from collapsing. These C-shaped cartilaginous rings are also present in both the bronchi. Bronchi is plural. One is called as bronchus. Each bronchus enters into the lung. This is the left lung, and here you can see the right lung. Each bronchus divides into many branches. These are very small, fine tubules which spread all over the lungs, and these further subdivisions of each bronchus are called as bronchioles. These bronchioles end up at balloon-like structures called as alveoli. Singular is alveolus. At the bottom of both the lungs, there is a muscular organ called as diaphragm. This diaphragm can become flat once it contracts, and it becomes dome-shaped once it is relaxed. So right now you're seeing that this is in the relaxed position. Contraction of this diaphragm causes it to move down, and then it becomes flat, resulting in an increase in the volume of the chest cavity. Each bronchus divides into many sub-branches called as bronchioles, and as we have already discussed, they end up in balloon-like structures called as alveoli. The structure of alveolus is important for understanding the mechanism of gas exchange. An alveolus is a balloon-like structure, and its walls are made up of special type of cells. These are flattened cells called as squamous epithelial cells. But here the thing which you have to remember, that their walls are just one cell thick, and this is providing the minimum distance for exchange of gases. The cell that make up the wall of the alveoli are called as pneumocytes type 1. The word pneumo means lungs, and the word site means cell. So it means that they are lung cells. So these type 1 pneumocytes are extremely thin alveolar cells which are specially adapted to carry out gas exchange. On the other hand, there are type 2 pneumocytes inside the alveoli, and these type 2 pneumocytes are specially adapted to produce and secrete a solution containing surfactant. What is a surfactant? Surfactant is actually a detergent-like chemical, and this keeps the inner surface moistened, and the surfactant released inside the alveolus prevents the alveolar wall to adhere to each other and prevents it from collapsing. So the surfactant actually reduces the surface tension, so the alveolar wall does not adhere to each other, as the surfactant is a detergent-like chemical which reduces the surface tension, preventing the alveoli to collapse. Moreover, the alveoli are richly supplied with the blood capillaries, which also have very thin walls. They are also made up of cells, so we can say the walls are just one cell thick, providing the minimum distance for efficient exchange of gases. Blood circulates through these capillaries, and the blood entering into these capillaries is deoxygenated blood, means this blood is having comparatively higher concentration of carbon dioxide and comparatively less saturated with oxygen. There's a high concentration of oxygen in the alveolar air, which then diffuses from the alveoli into the red blood cells and then eventually combines with the hemoglobin, making oxyhemoglobin. So after passing through just one cell thick walls of alveoli and capillaries, On the other hand, carbon dioxide diffuses out from the blood plasma into the alveolar air. That's how once the blood exits these capillaries, it has turned into oxygenated blood. In order to understand the mechanism of inhalation and exhalation, this diagram is going to be slightly modified to show certain muscles which are attached with the ribs protecting our lungs. Lungs are protected by rib cage, which is made up of ribs connected to the chest bone or sternum from the front and attached with the backbone from the back. Ribs are shown by these orange lines indicating the ribs which are surrounding our lungs and protecting it. Ribs are not just protecting the lungs, ribs are also important as they provide a mechanism for inhalation and exhalation. Two types of muscles are attached with the ribs. The one shown by the red lines, they are between two ribs. They start from one rib and attach to another rib to its other end. These muscles are called as external intercostal muscles. On the other hand, there is another set of muscles which are connected to the rib from its one end and with the sternum or the chest bone through its other end. These muscles are called as internal intercostal muscles. Both of these muscles work antagonistically, which means if the external intercostal muscles contract, the internal intercostal muscles should relax. So this is the antagonistic arrangement. We can take the example of inhalation to understand the mechanism of breathing in. The air from outside is taken in during inhalation, and this is done by the synchronized action of external as well as internal intercostal muscles with the help of diaphragm. During inhalation, both the external intercostal muscles as well as the diaphragm contract. As the diaphragm contracts, it moves downward and becomes flat, while when the external intercostal muscles contract, they cause the rib cage to move up and out. This increases the volume of the chest cavity or thoracic cavity. A rise in the volume of the chest cavity causes a fall in the pressure. A decrease in the pressure inside the lungs causes the air from the outside to rush in to compensate the pressure difference. During the contraction of the external intercostal muscles and diaphragm, the internal intercostal muscles should relax to allow the movement of the chest cavity upwards and outwards. On the other hand, during exhalation, everything gets reversed, means the diaphragm and the external intercostal muscles relax, as a result of which the whole chest cavity moves down and in. The diaphragm becomes dome-shaped, results in the decrease in the volume of the chest cavity. This results in an increase in the pressure, due to which the air present inside the lungs is pushed out. Moreover, the internal intercostal muscles contract and pulling the whole rib cage down as they are connected to the sternum from one end and ribs to the other end. Next part of the syllabus is about the monitoring of ventilation. This diagram is representing a spirometer which can be used to monitor the ventilation. This simplified diagram represents a spirometer which is having the mouthpiece, and the person whose ventilation is supposed to monitor uses this mouthpiece as the only source of air for inhalation and exhalation. A nose clip is attached to prevent any air being taken in or out through the nose. There are one-way valves which prevent the air to move in both the directions, and they control the one-way traffic of the air. Once the air is sucked in during inhalation, the one-way valve at position 1 closes due to change in pressure, and the air moves all the way through this breathing tube into the patient's or the person's lungs. There is a medical grade oxygen filled into the chamber, and this chamber moves down. Once this chamber moves down, the pointer with a pen draws a graph attached with the rotating drum. Then the person exhales and the one-way valve number 2 shuts down, while the one-way valve number 1 opens, and the air from the person's lung moves back towards the chamber after passing through carbon dioxide absorber into the main chamber. This causes the main chamber to rise up. So the pointer also moves up, and then a graph is plotted on the rotating drum which is having a graph attached on it. So a graph like this can be obtained where Z is representing the tidal volume. Tidal volume means the volume of air which could be taken in and out during inhalation and exhalation. The green part of the curve is representing inhalation and the orange part of the curve is representing exhalation. Tidal volume refers to the volume of air which is taken in or out during inhalation and exhalation while a person is resting. The additional air which can be taken in during a forced inhalation and extra air which could be exhaled out during a forced exhalation is called as inspiratory reserve volume. Similarly, the air which can be forced to push out other than the tidal volume is called as expiratory reserve volume. This is represented by Y in this graph, while inspiratory reserve volume is X minus Z. On the other hand, ventilation rate can be calculated by dividing the number of ventilations by time. This formula is used to calculate the ventilation rate. In the next and the last part of the syllabus, we're going to talk about respiratory diseases, which are related to the diseases affecting the lungs. One of the two diseases included in the syllabus include lung cancer. There are multiple reasons and causes which can contribute in the lung cancer. According to the epidemiological study, more than 90% cases of lung cancer are due to cigarette smoking. The cigarette smoke contains a dark brown colored substance called as tar. Tar is actually a mixture of more than 4,000 different chemicals, and most of these are mutagens, or also called as carcinogenic. Mutagen means a mutation causing agent, and this mutation can result in development of the tumor inside the lung tissues. They are also called as carcinogenic, mean cancer causing chemicals. Other than the active smoking, the passive smoking can also be one major contributor. Means the person, him or herself, is not smoking but staying in the same room or living with the person who is a smoker. According to some epidemiological studies, passive smokers are more prone to lung cancer because they are inhaling the cigarette smoke directly without even having a filter. Another cause of the lung cancer could be the air pollution. So different pollutants including diesel exhaust fumes, oxides of nitrogen, as well as the smoke particles may result in the development of tumor. Usually lung cancer is fatal because most of the time it is discovered in its second or third stage. Sometimes the surgery can help, but the success rate is really small. Another respiratory disease is emphysema or emphysema due to the chief contributing factors including pollution as well as cigarette smoking. Emphysema is due to the bursting of multiple alveoli due to weakening of elastic fibers on them. Each alveolus is protected by elastic fibers made up of elastin. These elastic fibers let the alveoli to expand during inhalation, and then they increase in the size, but they prevent them from overfilling and from bursting, and they help in the elastic recoil during exhalation. Once the air moves out, these elastic fibers help the alveoli to regain their original size. Even though we have mechanism of cilia and mucus, but still multiple pathogens may reach into the alveoli. In order to kill those pathogens, there are phagocytes present inside the alveoli, and they keep on producing an enzyme called as elastase. Elastase is released to act on the outer surfaces of pathogens and to kill them. But some of the elastase may diffuse out, and then it can act on the elastic fibers as well. In order to protect our elastic fibers, an enzyme inhibitor alpha-1 antitrypsin is produced, AAT. This alpha-1 antitrypsin prevents the enzyme elastase to act on the alveolar elastic fibers and helping it to protect the elastic fibers. Chemicals in the cigarette smoke decrease the production of alpha-1 antitrypsin, due to which the elastase produced by phagocytes, it will remain active even on the surface of the elastic fibers, and then it will start digesting the elastic fibers. So the elastic fibers start getting weaker and weaker with the passage of time. It is a chronic disease. It does not develop overnight. It takes years, and then the elastic fibers, they become really weak, and during a bout of coughing or sneezing, a large number of alveoli, they might burst, resulting in the damage of all these alveoli. Body has an amazing power of regeneration, with the help of which many bursted alveoli repair themselves and just fuse together to make one big alveolus. This repair prevents the bleeding or any other damage or the loss of air, but this is going to decrease the overall surface area to volume ratio. So the patient suffering with emphysema actually loses a lot of surface area to volume ratio. So the total lung capacity and the lung volume decreases. As a loss of gas exchange surfaces, the person's hemoglobin will not be able to get fully saturated with oxygen. So this results in shortness of breath. Mucus may also accumulate in the lungs, causing coughing and wheezing. So that's the end of 6.4 gas exchange. Don't forget to practice solving the past paper questions, including multiple choice questions and structured questions. If you are in the need of classified past papers, you can contact me through my email given at the end of this video. Please don't forget to subscribe the channel, press the bell icon for the latest updates, and drop a comment or any questions in the comment section below. Thanks a ton for watching. Hope to see you again soon.